So today I've got this Halloween inspired makeup look for you, and if I'm being honest, I'm not a huge fan of scary Halloween looks just because I'm a bit of a wimp and I find them just really creepy. Obviously, to create some of those looks, like, you have to have serious skills. People that do them, like, they look great, they look so realistic, but for me, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat. So if I am going out for Halloween, I do tend to go for something that's a little bit more wearable. Still quite vampy, grungy-ish, just not scary, really. If you want to see how I got this, then just keep watching. Taking the Morphe 350 palette, I'm just using that warm orangey colour and putting that all over the crease just to warm up the smoky eye, and I'm also dragging that slightly outwards to give myself more of a wing. And then taking that purple from the Sleek palette, I'm just placing that slightly underneath in the crease as well, and I'm putting the majority of that into the outer part of my crease, again to sort of exaggerate more of that winged out eye. And I'm just blending that out as much as I feel I want to. And then taking that dark brown, again from the Morphe palette, I'm placing that underneath those two colours, and I'm just working that into the crease to just give a bit more depth and a bit more drama. And then I'm blending that all out. And then taking my Sleek original palette, I'm using this black, and I'm first placing this into the crease, like dabbing it, and then I'm blending it. So I don't want to start blending it straight away because I don't want the black to just spread and take over the whole eye. Obviously using black can be a little bit tricky sometimes because it can just take over everything. So just try and be a bit careful and just use a little bit at a time. And then taking this bluey green colour from that Sleek palette again, I'm just placing that on the outer third of my eye, and I then put that into the inner third or corner of my eye. So I suppose I'm doing like a halo eye really. Taking this purple from the Sleek palette, and I'm placing that into the centre of my eyelid. And I then put a little bit more black into the crease just because I felt like everything had blended out a little bit too much into one. So if you feel like some of the colours have been lost throughout the process of blending, then definitely make sure to add as you go along. So I think at one point I did also add a little bit more purple in the crease, maybe a little bit more orange. And then I did take a really big blending brush and I just buffed that out to make sure that there weren't any harsh lines. And then I just added a little bit more black. And I added some more of that greeny bluey colour and some more purple onto the lid because again I just felt like those colours were getting lost. So I just packed that on. And then I used that lighter colour from the Morphe palette and I just put that into my brow bone to give myself a bit of highlight. And then I used some of that colour onto the lid as well, just on top of the purple to give it a little bit more of a pop. And then I took a wipe and I cleaned that up. And then I did a wing. Now looking back at this, I wish I would have just gone a little bit more with the wing and just made it a bit more dramatic. I did like the wing, but in terms of the line, I felt like I could have made it a little bit thicker. So yeah, never mind. I then took a wipe and just cleaned that up, and then used some mascara to just coat my lashes, just quite slightly, because then I put on some false eyelashes, which I will link down below, along with everything else in the description box. And I then just put some mascara on my bottom eyelashes, and I will leave the eyes for now and do the face, and we will go back to the eyes after that. So I'm just putting this all over my face, and buffing it out. I then use some concealer, and I quite like using this foundation brush to blend out my concealer because I just feel like it gives a nice finish. It's sort of quite airbrushed and it's quite clean. So yeah, I've been enjoying using a foundation brush for under my eye recently. And I then just put a little bit of that concealer in the middle of my nose, and then I took one heck of a blot and I powdered my whole face. Now I do look a little bit pale. This does take a little while for it to sort of settle down, but don't worry, I go ahead and I add quite a lot of bronzer in a minute. And I'm then just taking a combination of all those colours that we used in the crease, so the orange, the purple, the brown, and I'm just dragging that along my lash line. As well, I added in some cold pencil into my waterline just to give it a bit of extra drama. And then I took that same colour from the Morphe palette that I used for my brow bone and I put that into my inner corner to give me a nice pop. I also added a little bit more into my brow bone because I just felt like some of it had got lost. And then I took this sleek contour kit in dark. Now I use the medium one on a day-to-day basis just because it's not too in your face. This one I thought would be good just to, you know, chisel out those cheeks a little bit more. So this was the first time I'd used this, and yeah, it was quite pigmented, quite dark as well. It took me quite a while to blend all of this out, but I got there eventually. And I then realised that my lips were really dry, and it really bugged me, and I just couldn't continue to contour without first putting on some lip balm. I am so dramatic. So I then continued contouring, and I just lightly contoured my nose. Just ever so slightly, just to give myself an extra dimension. And then I took some bronzer and applied this all along my cheeks and my forehead and a little bit down my nose as well. And then I'm using the top three colours, or bottom three colours should I say, of the Shimmer Brick, and I'm just bronzing my face with those, and then taking that gold colour and using that to highlight with. And then I realised that the Sleek Contour Kit, the highlight in that was actually really pigmented. And in the past, when I've had Sleek Contour Kits, they've not been that pigmented, but this one was really nice. So I actually went back in and used that. And then I also used the top shade of the Shimmer Brick on top. You can see me mumbling to myself there because I was really impressed with the highlight. I also took this black eyeliner and I just messily outlined my lips, because I then used this purple lipstick on top, so it didn't really matter if it was too messy. And I had to use a brush with this because this lipstick, oh my god, it's a bit of a nightmare to apply. It's just really wet and creamy, but to the point where it just transfers so easily. So I did use a brush, and then afterwards I went back in with that eyeliner and just added some more black, and then I cleaned that up with a little bit of concealer. And then I took this red lipstick and I just put that into the centre of my lips. And then I went back in with that purple. I know if I'm on to you, you must be on to me. There we have it. That's my vampy Halloween, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I actually really enjoyed doing this. I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do at the start, so I was just like, I was going to sit down, film, and whatever happens, happens. But thankfully, I actually really like it, so I hope you guys do as well. And if you did, then it would be great if you could comment down below, give this a thumbs up, and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Happy Halloween!